We know that music is powerful. When attached to other art forms, such as movies or video games, it can elevate art above and beyond the visual realm. In episode 35, we discuss one of the most recognizable video game themes in history, the theme to World 1-1 of Super Mario Bros. Welcome to I Got a Song.
Hey everybody, this is I Got a Song. Welcome, welcome. My name is Michael. I'm hosting this episode today. With me, we got friend, co-creator, producer, Clay. What's going on, man?
Hello, sir. I'm so thrilled to be with you for another exciting episode of I Got a Song.
Yes, sir. And the way we usually do things, we've mentioned it before, and it'll repeat this as we go on. We usually record these in pairs.
Right.
The only time that we haven't recorded in pairs generally is when we've had a guest, and it's kind of been a special event for the guest episodes. But we generally record these back to back. Clay will host one, I'll host one, and it's all kind of done in pairs. And man, we have such a blast doing it that way.
By the way, this is episode 35.
Indeed. Did I say something wrong?
You did not say what the episode number was.
Oh, pardon me.
Well,
it's episode 35. Episodio 35.
I love it.
I don't have the gusto in my voice that you do when you drop the.
It's okay. It's okay. I've just got more practice. That's all.
You do.
It's all good.
It is okay.
Man,
anyway,
Mikey is hosting
35,
today. It's a Mikey episode.
Episodes.
Wow.
Man, and it's my turn to host. We just got through wrapping such an amazing episode with Billy Idol, Eyes Without a Face.
Oh, what a fun episode.
Before I get into what I'm going to present you, I've got to tell you.
Okay.
It's an observation that I just made during this last episode.
Okay.
It happened again.
What's that?
It happened again, Clay.
It happened again?
It happened again.
Did I say I'm so excited?
No.
Is that what
Although
happened
you
again?
did say that.
Sure I did.
Or some variation of that. When we record these in pairs, it has happened several times where the two episodes are kind of linked in a way. And
yes.
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
We had a conversation not too long ago discussing all things I Got a Song.
Yeah.
The observation was made that we have concentrated on the 70s.
Yeah.
And we've concentrated on the 90s.
Yeah,
we haven't gone much newer than the 90s, although a couple have been much more recent than the 90s.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that conversation, yeah. I took that into consideration in my last one.
One decade that we tended to not concentrate on as much, although we have had several episodes from the 80s. It's just not very many. So like YouTube, Bad, it's from the 80s. Yeah. Although, again, I think we even mentioned that in that episode that it does not sound like it's from the 80s.
Yes.
If you listen to most 80s output from YouTube.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the Billy Idol episode that this sounds like
Billy
80s.
Idol, it sounds like the 80s.
Sure he does.
Okay.
In the best possible ways.
In the best possible way. And we love 80s music. We really do. It's just
right.
There's been so many other songs that these songs just kind of come to us. And you know, we can have a plan. Mike Tyson even said it. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and a song will punch us in the face.
That's what happens.
And it's like, you know what? Back to the drawing board. This is my song.
Yeah.
And it could be the day before or even the morning of we record. It's like, you know what? Scratch all my plans. This is my song.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
They're gifts. And when they speak, we don't want to suppress them, and we don't want to put them aside.
Sometimes we
listen.
open them. Sometimes it's open for us. And and we just roll with it, man.
So just like these episodes, like right now, everybody knows except Clay what this song is because you've seen the title and Michael knows and I don't know what's going on. So this is like it's a gift. It's a Christmas gift.
Having said all that, my song is from the 80s. Okay?
I figured. Okay.
So it happened again, right, Clay?
Yeah, great.
Two back-to-back episodes that are from the same setting. Now, here's my question to you, okay? I'm going to get my all my notes here because I got quite a few. I want you to think, it's not so much a question, it's just something for you to think about. The song you just did, Eyes Without a Face, would you call an iconic song? Perhaps for maybe iconic for Billy Idol, but
I would say Rebel Yell or White Wedding are probably more iconic.
Okay. Yeah.
But
fair. But it's still a monster hit for Billy Idol.
Yeah, it wasn't a number one, but
I want you to think of a handful of songs. I don't care. I don't care how many or by who or anything like that. Just think of some of the most iconic songs from the 1980s. And just throw like 2 or 3 out.
Take On Me.
That's a great one, yes. By A-ha, right?
Yeah, that Space Age Love Song by Flock of Seagulls, I love. Oh my gosh, I think Billie Jean.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think of that John Hammer song, the Miami Vice.
Crockett's Theme. Yes.
I can keep going.
Oh, yeah, you could. Those are all just, I mean, every one of those songs you mentioned are just encapsulate the 80s.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Oh, and they're iconic. People listen to them to this day. All right.
Yeah, Psychedelic Furs.
The song I've got.
Okay.
Could be considered as equally iconic as any one of those.
Whoa.
If not more so.
Dang.
To this day.
So this is not going to be a deep cut episode, I don't believe. It doesn't sound like. Oh, well, I guess we'll find out here in a second.
No, it won't be a deep cut.
Okay.
But you hear this song even now, the first 3 or 4 notes, and you are taken back.
It's an instant. Okay.
It is an instant
teleport.
Hit, instant teleport. People of a certain age are just going to be like, oh my gosh, I know this. I love this.
Oh my gosh, I wonder what this is. I can't wait.
Now,
are you about to send it?
I'm about to send it.
Okay, all right.
As I'm sending it, just know we're going to have fun with this episode. Okay, I've got a lot of notes and a lot of good memories, a lot of observations.
And we have fun with every episode.
Well, we do. We always do. Here it comes. I'm hitting send, and what I'm doing, I'm sending a link to the track that we're going to listen to, and Clay's going to open it.
I felt it buzz.
He's going to take a look.
All right, from Michael Long, what have we got? Super Mario Brothers main theme? What
is not what you expected, I'm sure.
Oh, sweet! By Koji Kondo.
Now, does that name mean anything to you at all? Koji Kondo, the composer.
I can't say that it does.
I've got a very interesting story for him. What we have is the Super Mario Brothers theme song, the original as recorded for the video game Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
Now tell me, Clay. This
is awesome.
Before we go and cut and listen to it.
Okay.
Iconic?
Absolutely.
If you listen to this, you immediately know exactly what it comes from, and it brings up a whole ton of memories, right?
Yes, instantly.
Right.
Yep.
Let's go listen to Super Mario Brothers theme song. This is from like World 1-1. I don't know if you'd call it the theme song from the game. Perhaps you do, but it's the very first level when you hit start. Everyone knows this.
They sure do.
Everyone knows this. Let's go listen.
Wow. Let's do it.
Everybody, I hope everybody was just taken instantly back to the 80s.
Absolutely, we were.
And
I know I was.
Even later, because there are generations just rediscovering this magic even today. That was the Super Mario Brothers. You would call it the Super Mario Brothers theme song, but what it is the song that plays over World 1-1 from Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
And the composer's name is Koji Kondo.
Koji Kondo.
All right. So there's going to be quite a few history lessons involved with this episode, and I'm going to get into those. But Clay, initial thoughts?
Oh man, yeah, you're right. Like as soon as it kicks in, boom,
Now, would you consider obviously Super Mario Brothers came out in 1985.
Okay,
so just the middle of the 80s. Okay, NES was already kind of out of the gate and running. Would you consider this one of the most iconic songs? Period. I mean, definitely from video game. Anybody who's played video games,
it's the most recognizable.
Running on 40 years, one of the most recognizable video game pieces of music ever.
Yeah, even if you're not into video games or whatever, when that kind of came out, that game was packed with every NES, for the most part. And yeah, you turn it on and start going like ba-da-ba,
You're always going to hear it, whether you're warping straight to the last world 8, so you can take on Bowser, or you're going to play the thing all level by level all the way through. You're always going to hear that music no matter what. You can't miss it. You cannot avoid it.
Now, I tried to play this theme song on guitar, right? I downloaded the tab, and every now and then I'll kind of go back to it, and it's tricky, man. But it's
you telling me that
it's a really cool. If you play guitar, it's really fun to try to find this tablature. It's not just single notes. Your each little note is basically like a 2-fingered chord kind of thing. It's right. Fun. It's a lot of fun. And set a little metronome to whatever it is, and it's got the little section. I was wondering if this version of it was going to play where everything speeds up when you get the star.
No, they didn't. The particular part of it that we linked is just the track itself, so it doesn't do the speed up. It doesn't do any of that other stuff that you hear in the game. But it's just the theme song itself. But it is the original as recorded by Koji Kondo. All right,
it's sweet. It takes you right there, man.
So one tidbit of history. I'm not going to really focus on it, except that it's just interesting. Do you know how old the company Nintendo is?
Oh yeah, it's like, it was like from like the 1900s, like the early, like maybe like even like the late 1800s or something. It's like been around like forever.
It was founded. Nintendo was founded in 1889.
Yeah,
and for a long time, all they did was playing cards. What they call Hanafuda playing cards. That was their their main thing for just decades. They got into a few other ventures in the 70s, 60s and 70s, I believe.
I think these are like for games. So there's like trading. They're not like trading cards, or are they like?
No, it would be like a card game, like
I guess,
or
like Magic the Gathering or something.
Not even that, like just like playing cards, like you buy a deck of playing cards.
Oh, like 52 with 4 suits and like that.
Similar to that, but like a Japanese.
And other games, yeah. All right, yeah.
And they got into video games in the very late 70s, starting with like arcade type games, things like that. And they rolled into what we now know as the Nintendo Entertainment System. Koji Kondo, okay, Japanese, obviously. He was into programming and things like that in the late 70s, early 80s. He was employed by Nintendo in 1984, I believe, is what my notes say. He was the first person hired by a video game company specifically for music composition.
He was hired to be the music to be the music.
Prior to that, video game companies hadn't hired anyone to come in and do their job title wasn't like music composer. He came in as a music composer and a sound effects specialist.
Was he a musician prior to this?
Yes, yeah. He'd done some stuff in music, but was also into very early computer programming, that sort of thing.
Whoa,
his resume is impressive as far as his history with Nintendo itself. He's been with Nintendo ever since. So he's still there today, but he's in more of a supervisory type role. Nintendo obviously has a big garage of artists working for him now, and there's like a division of music composers hired by Nintendo, and Koji Kondo kind of what's the word? he's like a manager of these guys, but he also comes in, he kind of consults on all these other music projects.
Like you're talking about nowadays?
Yes.
Okay, currently.
Okay. Just all that to say, Nintendo has a very long, a long and varied and storied history, and Koji Kondo is a huge part of that.
That's so rad.
Obviously, he composed all the music for Super Mario Bros. He did every song, so everything, the castle thing, that that. You run a castle and attack Bowser. That's the
guy.
That's Koji in the background.
So he did the sound effects as well
for a lot of those early games, yeah.
Whoa.
And I'm about to blow your mind with some of this other history too. So one of our most beloved NES games, Golf.
Oh, just golf, yeah.
Just golf,
yeah.
That we've played it for years.
Oh yeah,
years and years. So there's no music in that game.
No.
He did the sound effects for golf. Okay,
I'm
about to blow your mind again.
Okay. The sound effects aren't super amazing on that one, I don't think, are they? They're just going to look boop.
Yeah.
Boop, boop, boop.
Out of bounds.
Koji Kondo nailed it.
Like the travel of the ball.
Yeah, that's it.
Not impressive, but I mean that's a game from 1984 and it's a classic, and you and I just reproduced several of the sound effects from a dang near 40-year-old video game about it's like the most simple game of golf you can imagine.
But it still works, it's still fun. It's still very fun.
It's still fun. And in fact, that game was Nintendo's biggest selling sports game, either for a time or perhaps over the course of the entire NES life cycle.
What?
Yeah.
Just golf?
It was
just straight golf?
One of the best-selling sports titles for the NES. Golf from 1984.
Dang.
Koji Kondo did all those
throughout the duration of the system, it was still one of the top ones?
That's what I remember reading.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Don't quote me 100% on that, but I do remember seeing that in the notes. He also did the music for the original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
The same guy. He did all of those old Zelda themes that we know and love. He's the originator. Isn't that amazing?
I love this.
Yeah, you're over there just singing Zelda and
oh, I know Zelda really well.
Oh, dude, yeah. And I considered using the opening music to Zelda as this, but Mario is just a step above as far as recognizability. I don't know what these words are. I just think the Super Mario Brothers theme is just
Koji-san, thank you.
above and beyond all of those, and he provided all of that. Okay.
Yes.
Some other works that he did. Okay. He did Legend of Zelda. He did Zelda: Link to the Past. All the music for that. The Super Nintendo Zelda, and the themes
that's one of your favorites, I think.
Oh, it's one of my favorite Zelda games. If not, it's definitely my favorite old school one.
This is going to be the nerdiest episode.
It really is. So, apologize in advance. He also did the music for Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Yep.
He did the music for Doki Doki Panic. That was originally released in Japan.
Can't sound familiar.
You'll be familiar with the game once I tell you how it came out in the U.S. That's what's Nintendo saw this game. They knew they needed a sequel to Super Mario Brothers, and they already had one in Japan that was deemed too difficult for U.S. audiences. So they took this Doki Doki Panic game, gave it a Mario sheen, and called it Super Mario Brothers 2.
What?
Yes. Koji Kondo did all the music for that.
Oh, we love Mario too.
And that's why Super Mario Brothers 2 is so different, because it started life as a totally different game.
Yes, and they just kind of Okay, they kept the engine, I guess.
They kept the engine. They kept the enemies, the world designs, all that, and they basically just.
But they just made the characters look like Peach and Toad and Luigi and Mario.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I think I turned on that on YouTube the other day. I turned on Mario 2, like a playthrough, and just let it roll.
Mario 2,
and it's just going, and it's just I look at the screen for just a minute. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
So different. It's. I mean, there's not much of a story to the Mario games in general, but Mario 2 has more of a theme to it than the other games. It's more than just saving the princess, because you get to the end. I'm not going to spoil, even though it's a 35-year-old game, I'm not going to spoil it. It's just play that game to the end and prepare to be like, oh, really? when you beat it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did the music, all the music to Mario Brothers 3, which is my favorite, Mario game.
That's
although
really
I do kind of love Mario 2 more.
What about Dr. Mario? Did he do the
There's
song?
no mention of Dr. Mario, unfortunately. He didn't go
love
there.
Dr. Mario. Do you want to play some Dr. Mario later today? After we're done recording?
I'm always done with a little bit of Dr. Mario, but
all right, sweet.
He did the music for Super Mario World and Super Mario 64.
I don't know those as well as you do.
He did the sound effects for Golf. I already mentioned that. He also did the sound effects for Star Fox, the original Star Fox.
Yep.
And some of the music for Star Fox 64. He's got a very impressive.
I'm sure his resume is extensive.
Oh yeah, and I'll stop there. But so
that's rad.
Yeah, dude. Instant nostalgia hit whenever you hear that Mario theme.
Koji Kondo.
And I do have a confession to make.
Okay.
Regarding Super Mario Brothers.
Oh no!
And I'm gonna out Clay on this one too.
Yeah, it's time. We gotta come clean.
We gotta fess up to it, man. So 1985 is when Super Mario Brothers released. You and I would have been about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I got my first NES probably in 1988. I think it was like a Christmas present. So by then it would have been
out a couple of years.
It would have been packed in Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt on the same cartridge.
Oh yeah.
And so I would have gotten the system with 2 controllers, the zapper gun, and then this one cartridge that had, game pack, as Nintendo put it, Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt. So I want to say about 88 or so.
So cool.
So in all of that time, I have never once beaten Super Mario Brothers. I've beaten Mario 2, I've beaten Mario 3, I've beaten Mario World, I've beaten Mario 64. What? I've beaten so many other Super Mario Brothers games since then. And I have not and cannot and probably will not ever beat Super Mario Brothers 1.
Hey, yo tampoco.
But guess what?
Me neither, man.
The average listener, I've just confessed, Clay hasn't either.
It's true.
Not being either, and we have tried together. We've tried separately. It's
cooperatively.
It has not happened.
Yeah, it's just too good. It
feels good to get that off my chest.
You've been carrying that around with you.
Oh man,
hey, lay it down.
It's a dark.
You can lay it down here on the show, and I got a song and walk away.
I love music, and I'm a music guy, but I'm also a video game nerd, and
you really
I
are.
love video game music in general. Okay, not so much as like film score music. It's pretty well documented on this show that I'm a film score nerd.
Yeah.
Film, it's movie soundtrack, film scores.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that.
Video game music does it for me as well. Okay. And I've got 2 questions to ask you kind of along this vein, okay?
All right.
I feel like I'm talking a lot on this one. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm about
please.
to throw the ball in your court. Would the game Super Mario Brothers be as iconic without that music?
I don't know.
It's a great game.
It's a great game.
It's a fun game.
Yeah.
But if that music were if the music were different or unmemorable in some kind of way,
it wouldn't have made an impact. I don't think it would have made as much an impact if that tune, because it feels like it's just, it just instantly sounds like you're jumping and running.
I'm so glad you made that point, and I'm going to come back to that as soon as when I ask you the second question. Remember that. Remember the point that you just made.
It has a skippiness to it.
Yes.
It feels like skipping, moving, running, jumping.
Absolutely. It is part of the game.
Stomping on little guys.
Absolutely.
Turtles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Would the music be as iconic if the game were bad?
That's a great question.
Would you remember the music as well if the game were bad?
They both have to be good, or I won't remember. I don't think.
I
haven't played I can tell you.
It really is a simple. The two questions are really pretty simple and they're connected. But go ahead. Yeah.
I can't think of like any specific examples where I am playing the game and I'm really enjoying it and be like, this game would be next level if the music were better. I don't think that.
Okay.
If the music, I think if the game is like a B and the music is like a C, I don't know that an A soundtrack is going to bring the entire experience up to an A.
Okay, that's fair.
If the gameplay
like
is still,
that, yeah.
But I mean, clearly when the two work together, it's magical. But yeah, you got to have both. I think you need to have both. Now that I think about it,
I agree. And man, I'm so glad you made that point a second ago. So you said the music feels rhythmic.
I want to give like a more updated version. So let me think of Red Dead Redemption.
Okay, yeah.
That music is really perfect. It's got the old spaghetti western sounding guitars,
yes.
And when you ride into a town, you've got a violin kind of thing going of like an old dusty town, and that music is really well curated. And if the music were 25% worse, that game is still great. But
great point, yeah. The game itself is fantastic. There are places where there's no music at all, and you're still having a blast playing that game.
Sure.
I couldn't imagine playing that game with no music at all, ever. Because the music, like you said, really elevates the immersion into that world.
Yeah, immersion's a good word.
Yeah.
It makes, because it puts you into the spaghetti western.
It does, absolutely, and that was the whole point.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
You can clearly see that there's, it's an homage, however you want to say it, to Western films.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a fantastic game. Yeah. So back to the point that you made with my first little question a second ago. You said that the music in Super Mario Brothers, you can hear and feel the bouncing, the jumping, the movement through each level, and then you talk about like you kind of get into like the underwater levels. It gives you an underwater vibe.
It really does.
When you're when the underground ones, you kind of get this kind of foreboding. You're in this dark, cramped space.
Yeah,
and the music is kind of like dank. It's like this.
Yeah. That's especially true in like 3. In Mario 3. Yeah, whenever you're in caves and stuff, it's almost like they put a little extra little reverb on there to make it sound like there's a little bit of an echo, and then there's like there'll be like a sound of like a little drip, like you're in a cave, like
that's right.
Drip, just it's real subtle.
Mm-hmm.
That's in there, isn't it? I'm not imagining
I'm
that, right?
Sure you're right. Yeah.
Every now and then you hear something like that. That's
atmospherics that put you underground in a cave or that sort of thing. No, I agree.
Yeah.
And
that kind of thing wasn't in the first. It wasn't really in the first one.
I have to go back.
I don't think there's like cave stuff in that kind of
that level to see if.
But the music does sound darker whenever you go into 1-2. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. You're in a little castle.
There's a theme song that plays, and it's like it kind of drives your anxiety up. It's like, you got to kind of run this gauntlet, and that at the end you've got to fight Bowser, and obviously the worlds get progressively harder and harder, and especially I wouldn't know because I've never gotten to 8-4, but you've slugged through this hard game all the way to the end, and you got that music that's just like, oh, like you just feel tighter. You know, it's like, oh
it's really effective.
I'm there. I'm so close. I've got to get there, and you finally beat it again, I assume, and and you know you get.
We're gonna do it one day, man. We'll get it. We're gonna get this game beat. It's just fun, but the music is. You're right. It's you're instantly there. And there's the trees, the blue skies, and the bricks, and you're running and you're bumping into bricks and everything. I mean, it's just like that music takes you there instantly. You're right.
It's really interesting. Doing my research for this, Koji Kondo had come up with. First of all, he spent many hours playing the core game prior to really composing any kind of themes for the each levels. He spent time in the game.
Yeah.
And his first composition for World 1-1 was actually going to be this kind of relaxing. He said, so your first world, he didn't want to, his initial thoughts were, I don't want to like overstimulate the player since they're, this might be the very first video game they've ever played. This might be the first level of the first video game they've ever played. He didn't want to start off with like frantic. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So his first composition was like this kind of relaxing, not very moving, like not orchestral because they couldn't really do orchestra sounds, but like just kind of think of like a soft pad type of music. Okay. It's just just kind of this airy background thing, not really there. And have you heard it, or is it just been described? It's just been described in read. Okay. And so there's not audio of that. I don't believe anywhere. If like there is, I didn't find it. Mario Brothers theme outtake, alternate take, demo version. I don't think so. It's all got like all this lo-fi hiss under it and stuff. He tried playing the game with this music, and he's like, it doesn't feel right. So he went back, and with the idea, I want to say that he kind of collaborated with the director of the game, Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy who like invented Mario. Oh yeah. And they decided that he needed a more rhythmic approach, and so this theme is what he eventually landed on, and much to the point that you made a second ago, it's like it's a fun theme, but it's not like driving you somewhere. It's just it kind of plays along with the rhythm of the jumping and the running, and you're jumping on the heads of these enemies and jumping over all these obstacles and things like that. It's a rhythm that goes with you. It doesn't drive you, doesn't push you, doesn't pull you back or anything like that. It just goes with you. Yeah. Does that make sense? It does. And again, I cannot imagine this game, this first level of this amazing game. And it feels like it's got like a I don't know, like a gallop, kind of like because there's like a that's more like a jazz thing, but it's like a there's a movement. There's this palpable movement to the music that again, it almost kind of like resembles like footsteps of Mario, maybe. Yeah. Maybe it almost sounds like he's stepping, but it's like that little. Absolutely. And again, kind of back to my question: would the game be as iconic without the music? So for example, there's games that you and I play that are awesome, that have good music, but we'll mute the music. So like NES Open, Dr. Mario, things like that have classic recognizable music. Yeah, we shut off because we're concentrating on playing the game, or on Dr. Mario, you've only got there's two songs. There's Fever and Chill, and then there's Off. And so when you're both good, iconic for that game. And when you first start playing, you're like, we'll play this one with the song, and then we'll whoever wins, and then we'll play another one. We'll turn it off. Yeah, or we'll put on a soundtrack. We'll start a jam or something. It's memorable music without being just essential. And I cannot imagine playing World 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers and muting the music. There's no way. No way. I can't do it. I can't do it. It is part of it. The music is a delight, no matter what level you're on.
Oh, it's so true. Anyway. It's so true. And then like Mario 2 it seems like it's made advancements. I mean, they're still using the same system.
Of course.
And they're still using all the same hardware and everything, but they've upped their game.
Yes.
Somehow,
so they've
dramatically, you can tell
more out of like just more of everything, like more instruments, more.
This first one's very minimal, but even with like the next one, it's really starts to have like multiple, layers and.
Yes, absolutely. And then you get to Mario 3, which Mario 3 is probably my favorite. Probably my favorite Mario game overall. The entire package. The levels are.
I'll probably
brilliant.
go back more to that one for pure enjoyment than anything else.
Especially like the first the map of World 1, the map music. Maybe if you can find a clip and throw it in right here.
I don't see how that's possible.
I love it. I don't know. For maybe a more capable producer than producer.
I'll try to find somebody. I'll find somebody.
Yeah. I'll have my people call your people. So yeah, he nailed the soundtrack to all three of these games.
How did he do it?
And then you go back to like Legend of Zelda. His approach to Zelda was much more different and equally essential to the game. I'm not going to mute the music to Zelda.
No, I don't either.
And again, not as iconic or memorable as Mario, but I mean, it's in the same conversation.
And when you go into the castles in Zelda, again, it's the mood changes, the song changes, it goes dark.
It's foreboding.
It gets doomier.
You get this.
And then when you get to 9,
changes.
like the level 9, the final castle or whatever, that is its own different song.
Oh yeah,
and that's even like doomier and darker and like a little bit more minimalist, if I remember right. And it's like effectively creepy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm also glad you brought up like Red Dead Redemption,
but like in a fun way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the art of video games has increased like all aspects. So like the visuals, the story that they're telling, the music, all of that has just
it's become more cinematic.
Yes, it's like you're playing a video game,
full length feature.
Depending on the game, depending on the player. I mean, you could love that. You could check out. I love it. So a few other series that I've really loved the music to. Final Fantasy. They're always trying to tell like this deep, many times dark, long story.
Yeah, these are big, long, epic
video games that have only gotten more so as the generations have gone on. But
I know you and Chris were always into those. I never had the. I could never spend the time to.
I've been into Final Fantasy since I was a kid. Probably when Final Fantasy, what we would know as Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo back in like 93 or 4, something like that.
Sounds right.
Maybe even earlier, maybe in 92.
The first Final Fantasy was on NES.
Yes, the very first one was on the NES. I played it. It didn't grab me at that point. It was not until Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo, which was actually the fourth Final Fantasy game released, but only the second one in the US, so they called it 2.
That's when they really started to get deeper and
simple Americans. That was I don't really dare say that it was the first really cinematic Final Fantasy, but it's the first one that had this just really unforgettable story to it.
Yeah,
and with established characters, you don't create your own character. You're playing these other characters. You're, it's a role playing game. You're playing the role of these characters, and it dug into me. And part of that is the music. The music for the Final Fantasy series is up until maybe I want to say 11 or 12. I didn't do a whole lot of research on this, but the first 10 to 12 Final Fantasy games, we're up to 16 now. The first 10 or 12 Final Fantasy games were all composed by one guy, Nobuo Uematsu. and I'm sure I butchered his name, but just legendary music composer for the Final Fantasy series.
Awesome.
And some of my favorite video game music, period. And if I were to play the Final Fantasy, like what they call either the Crystal theme or like the Prelude, you would know it. It's that little doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle. It's like this arpeggio up and down. That's over like 2 octaves.
That's ringing a bell, even though I don't really know. I bet
find a clip and throw it in, and
yes.
Even though you have absolutely zero interest in the Final Fantasy series, I almost guarantee you'll know the song.
I bet you I will. I bet it'll ring a bell.
Another series that I've really liked the music, Dragon Warrior. What we know as Dragon Warrior, but has the original name was Dragon Quest.
Okay. See, I never played any of these.
Okay. That's another one that I think we're up to 11 in that series now. Dragon Quest 11.
That's amazing.
A more simple RPG series, more simple game series than Final Fantasy. The stories are a little bit simpler. The gameplay is a little bit simpler, but iconic music. And I would even venture to say you might recognize some of the music from the first Dragon Warrior / Quest.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
It's possible. I'm gonna find them.
I'm a video game nerd, and I'm nerding out on this stuff, man.
That's what this show's about, man.
This is a niche that is, I've probably already lost. I've lost that 4% UK listenership that we gained. I apologize.
Well, hey, we might pick it up in Japan though. With our Japanese audience, might ramp up a little bit.
I'm going to say a couple more things about Koji Kondo. He's been quoted as his favorite work is Super Mario 3. That's what his favorite.
That's the one he's most proud of, or
that's the one that he's either most proud of, or just the favorite work that he's done. And it's a huge track list on that game. There's a lot of music in that game, and it's all really good. When they talked about some of his influences, he really likes the band Deep Purple.
Okay.
And like Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
All right.
Stuff like that. But in particular, it's just kind of an interesting thing that if you want to, go check it out, anybody listening. He was when he was coming up with the music for The Legend of Zelda, he was very influenced by one particular track from Deep Purple called April. Listen to it, and I can really hear, like, it's very thematically similar. It's not, he didn't rip off April or anything like that, but if you listen to it, it's like an 11-minute long track. So we're not going to go cut and listen to it like we normally would.
I'll go listen to it in post. I want to listen to it
in post. Go listen to it. April by Deep Purple.
Okay,
and you start hearing cues throughout that song. It's a primarily instrumental song. It's I want to say maybe the first 7 or 8 minutes is all instrumental.
Okay.
There are some lyrics.
Some kind of experimental, anyway, just like a jam thing.
Kind of think Jethro Tull type stuff. But but better.
Okay, I hope so.
I heard that. I heard you. You lost me. No, it's not that weird, but you'll hear the influence that this particular track had on that original Legend of Zelda.
That is so cool.
Composition. Yeah,
that is so really cool. I'm going to put. Yeah. I'm going to see if I can put some little clips of that in here.
That's all the real notes that I've got on the guy. And kind of what I wanted to say just about video game music in general. Like, you're not so much. You're not into film scores or video game music like I am, but
I know
what is some of the music from a video game that you can remember other than Mario?
Halo.
That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah, that one, that was a pretty famous one.
Oh yeah. I love that music.
I was gonna say like the Grand Theft Auto franchise, but all that is like licensed stuff usually.
But you have a point, because the music is brought in to elevate the game, and especially
on Vice City.
I thought about this while I was coming up with this episode. So Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah, that's great.
Steeped in the 80s, and here we are in the 80s. Talked about the 80s.
Yeah, when I was actually kind of thinking about that soundtrack when you were talking about like 80s, like what is like very 80s, you know, and like that Crockett's theme came to mind.
Yes,
and Billie Jean, and yeah. But yeah, those are curated to produce a vibe, and they do it very effectively.
Oh yeah. That whole game, just more so than any other game, even within the Grand Theft Auto series, it nails its vibe with the story, with the visuals, with the design and the music. The music really just nails it. All the different radio stations with all that licensed 80s music. Isn't there a Billy Idol song on one of those?
On
is it Rebel Yell?
On what again?
On Vice City.
Oh!
I gotta go back and look at that soundtrack now.
I'm not sure.
I don't want to sit here.
There should be.
I don't want to sit here and like waste time trying to look that up. But
no, go ahead. I'll just cut it out. You know, I'm curious.
Okay. Vice.
There might not be.
City. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Let's see. Maybe I could be.
I don't think there is now that I think about it.
Music production. There might not be.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, back to what you were saying, like, he played the game, Super Mario Brothers, clearly.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Koji-san.
And he loved it.
And based on playing it, he was able to have enough feeling and musical, like, experience and just, you know, that he was able to put that into music pretty simply, but very effectively. And just, like, the more I think about it, like... the game is not the same without the...
Exactly.
It's not the same.
He was reactive to the game, so the game made an impression on him, so much so that he created this music to elevate the game, to accentuate and elevate the game.
Yeah.
And now we have this...
And you play differently. You play at a different pace when there's that track going.
Oh,
I bet if you were to just like hit mute, you're probably going to play a little more slowly. I would think. Slowly, or just, I don't know, your mentality, you're not going to be as invested. Yeah, I don't think it'll hold you. You won't. You'll lose attention a lot quicker if you've just got the boing, boing, boom, boom. You know, just those.
Imagine, yeah.
And no music.
Ooh, that'd be hard. I wouldn't want to do that.
No, I don't want to do that either.
Not on that game anymore.
I love it the way it is. It's a masterwork. It's amazing.
It is.
It's so perfect. They're inseparable. And you when you see it come on the TV and you just see Mario running in World 1-1, you're hearing you without it, if it's on mute, it's going in your head.
Yeah, you know, like my oldest son is 11 years old, and if I were to play that music. Just the music. If I were to play this track that I shared with you. Hey, what game is this on? Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
he might have played it like 4 times, but he
moves,
knows that that's the music from Mario. It's that ingrained in culture.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't have to love video games. You don't even have to play them or like them. But I can almost guarantee that the vast majority of people would at least know that that's from Super Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Or at least a Mario game. They might even be able to name.
It's penetrated that deeply into the culture that it's just.
I feel like I've droned on enough about Mario Brothers and all that. But do you have any parting thoughts on Super Mario Brothers or just video game music in general?
Man, I think we probably don't think about it much. We just expect it to be on there, expect it to be good, and I think if it were taken away, we would instantly notice and be like, "Whoa, what is wrong?" You know? Yeah. This a lot of these, especially these early Nintendo games, something about them has, I don't know, maybe it was just because they came out and I first, started experiencing them at a formative age, where I'm just like 6, 7, 8 and on, but yeah, those they're always going to kind of come back and they're great little, I don't know how to put it. They're essential. These little songs are essential to go along with this gameplay. It's just as simple as it is. But I know it's not very articulate, but it's just
it's the point that I was driving home to make. That it's essential to the experience.
Yep. Hard agree.
And so once again, music elevates the art and the medium that it's attached to.
Yep.
So
see it all the time.
I don't know, man.
It's perfect,
that's
man.
Really kind of all I got.
That's awesome. This is a great pick, dude. I mean, it's an iconic song, man. It's perfect. It fits right in here, and it's a little outside of our usual thing, which is why I love it. Which is why I love this pick.
Okay.
It's so awesome. A lot of fun. I want to go play video games now.
Oh, geez.
Let's go get some tacos, and then let's go play some Mario.
Well,
thank you, Michael.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
God, you brought another great one. This is so cool. I love this.
I forgot the admin stuff at first.
Okay.
Why don't we tell the good people where they can find us?
All right. Well, if you want to find us, you can find us on the usual channels. Instagram is where I'm doing most of my social networking.
Yeah.
I suppose, or whatever. I Got a Song podcast. You can find us there.
Likewise, I'm kind of running the presence on Twitter X at I Got a Song Pod, and you can also hear us on practically all the major podcast platforms.
Yep, we're on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeart, and I think that's about it.
We're all there, guys.
And then lastly, if you want to find our Google voicemail, turns out you can send us a text to that also, 323-903-SONG.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know. We'll brace for it, but let us know what we're doing wrong if you feel compelled to do so. Let us know what your favorite video game music is, whether it's Mario, Zelda, Final Fantasy, or otherwise. There's a lot of other great video game music out there. And let us know what you think. And that's really got about it.
All right, man. Well, it looks like that's going to wrap up this particular episode. Remember, guys, music is a gift. This song is probably going to remind you of somebody. Send it to them. Send them a smile. Say, hey, remember when we used to play Mario and we never could beat it?
Hey, Super Mario Brothers will always remind me of Clay Collins, especially since we haven't beaten this stupid game yet.
Yeah, send this to him and send him a text that says, hey, loser, you still haven't beaten this?
Oh, hey, real quick, call back to episode 33. This is Nintendo games in general is what I bonded with Mr. David Galloway over. And video games
we play a lot of Nintendo.
Just like music does. And when the two combine for like the perfect package, I mean, it's magical. So
it really is.
Get out there, play some games, listen to some music, share.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Music is a gift. So let's share generously. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for listening, and we will catch you on the next one.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mikey. Hey, we really appreciate you listening to the show. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, go ahead and check out the rest of our episodes and share them with your friends. Be sure to follow us and find us on Instagram at I Got a Song Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at I Got a Song Pod. And we would love to hear your voice, so leave us a Google voicemail at 323-903-SONG. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to I Got a Song. This is the show where we surprise each other with music and therefore share all this music with the masses. And it's been an exciting day already. Clay just gave me a great episode. Let's start over. This is bad.
All right.
Got it.
All right.
Cut. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
I'm sorry.
All right. Take two.